Namaste, Hari Om. Welcome to Shevadhi channel. We are back with our Pravesha Sanskrit Exam Preparation series, and this is the part 3, Tritiyaha Bhagaha of the series. And if you have watched the part 1 and part 2 videos already, you know that we have covered 4 topics: Sukti, Devatastuti, which comes under Sangrahya Vishaya, and Subhashitam and Prahelika. And links to these videos will be given in the description section of this video, so you can go through those at your leisure. Today we will be looking at Samskrita Vaangmaya Parichaya and Vyaavahaarika Shabadaah. That said, we will get started with today's video, and we will do the prarthana first. Hands in prayer position. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvighnaṁ Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambhaṁ Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Vagarthaviva Sampruptau Vagartha Pratipattaye Jagatah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Now Samskrita Vaangmaya Parichaya, where in this section spread across 10 lessons in your Pravesha textbook, we get introduced to various literary works in Sanskrit language. Very first one, Vedaha, the Vedic scriptures. So basically there are 4 Vedas: Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvana Veda. And Rigveda is the oldest when it comes to the Sanskrit literature. The Veda is divided, or what a Veda is composed of. There are 2 ways to look at it. One is where if you look at what are the topics covered in a Veda, then you get 4 parts called Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. And they also can be divided into Kanda. It's called Karma Kandam and Jnana Kandam. Okay, so you have to know these. I mean, if you're interested in knowing what these are, there are plenty of resources out there. But for the exam point of view, if you know these points, it is enough. Now going to the next slide, let's just get familiar with the key points pertaining to Rigveda. It is the oldest literary work in the world, and it has 8 ashtakas and 10 mandalas, and it has all the prayers. So it's composed of different verses. A question on these, like for example, fill in the blanks like that. So one is Akshaihi Ma Divya. So do not gamble. That is the meaning of this saying. Krushim it krushasva, till the land. Okay, and this is basically not to know about the Veda, but knowing the things that are covered in the textbook from the exam perspective. That's all. So that is why the points covered here are very limited. Yajurveda, it has 2 branches, Shukla Yajurveda and Krishna Yajurveda, and it contains mantras that are used while performing the yajnas or sacrifices. And this could be a potential question in your exam, so remember this. The famous saying Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara, it is in the Taittiriya Upanishad, which belongs to Krishna Yajurveda. And Samaveda, it is considered to be the Veda of melodies and songs. And it also is another, people have called this a musical version of Rigveda, because it consists of 1875 verses, out of which 1800 are taken from Rigveda. And the other one called as the 4th Veda, It is Atharvana Veda. It is pretty new compared to other three Vedas. So, and it is considered to be the knowledge storehouse of the procedures that are used for everyday life. So, that is the gist of your Veda topic. Moving on. Um, so there are some key teachings of the Vedas. So these are listed here because again the questions could come in the form of fill in the blanks and things like that. So and also if you are asked to write a summary on Vedas, you can quote these sayings. So you will get good marks. So these are listed here. Please memorize these key teachings of the Vedas. Now we come to the topic Vedangani. So these are called as the Veda Anga. These are the supporting or supplementary sciences that aid in the understanding of the Vedas. So in order to no, for example, if you take up a book, right, you have to understand the meaning of the words given in it, right? So then that you have a dictionary, six Vedangas will help in understanding the Vedas. So what are those? Shiksha, Vyakarana, Chandas, Nirukta, and Jyotisha, and Kalpa. And remember that there are 9 Shikshas and 8 Vyakarana commentaries. Now comes the Upanishadaha. Upanishad or Upanishad, both are acceptable. So there are actually around 108 Upanishads that are mainly recognized. There might be more than that number, and out of which 10 are considered to be very important ones. So these are all listed here, and there is a shloka that is given, which you can memorize, which in turn will help in uh, memorize keeping these a list of Upanishads in your memory. And darshanani. So there are what do we call as uh, astika and nastika darshanani. So what is the difference? Because when we just use the term astika and nastika, we just assume that astika means one who believes in God and nastika means one who doesn't believe in God. But that is not the meaning of these astika and nastika darshanani when it comes to darshana. Astika darshanani means they accept the authority of the Vedas. So there are 6 such darshanas. These are called Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purva Mimamsa, and Uttara Mimamsa. Okay, Uttara Mimamsa is also known as Vedanta. And Nastika Darshanani, they do not accept the authority of the Vedas. And there are mainly 3 Nastika systems. These are Charvaka, Jainism, and Buddhism. And under Buddhism, you have 4 schools of thoughts, right? And if you get a question on this, right, how many darshanas are there, and this obviously we will be writing it in English or in the chosen language, right? So here you first mention what Astika Darshana is, and the list out the names. And when it comes to Nastika Darshana, mainly there are 3. You mention that, and depending on the number of marks, for example, if the question is for 3 marks, then you can go ahead and list out the 4 schools under Buddhism. So it will be complete, and the possibility of you getting the full marks will be higher. Okay, so remember these points under Darshana topic. And now comes to Puranas. There are 18 Puranas, and Upapuranas are also there. And 18 Puranas are obviously listed here. And there is a shloka that is given which helps you remember the names, because as you can see, each and every letter it says like how many Puranas name begin with a ma, and then for example he ma dvayam, right? So Matsya Puranam and Markandeya Puranam, so there are 2. And then bha dvayam, again those with starting with the letter Bha, there are two. One is Bhagavata Puranam and Bhavishyat Puranam. That is how it goes. And remembering that, you will know, okay, that kind of gives you some pointer to remember the names of the Puranas. And Shastrani, there are different Shastra here. You have to remember the Grantha and what is the Shastra it comes under and who is the author. Okay, this you can again print it out or take a screenshot of this and uh, in your mobile or whichever one is that you prefer in order to revise, right? So you can go through this and just keep visiting these points so that so it stays in your memory. And remember, this is and we had seen this question in one of the earlier question papers. What is the name for Uttara Shastram? What is the another name given for Uttara Shastram? And it is Vedanta Shastram. Okay. And also the type of question you get could be in the fill in the blanks, for example, the Kartru of Dhyana Loka is dash, something like that. Or most probably you will be getting match the following type of question on this topic. Okay, because who is the what is the Grantha and who is the author, that match the following, very commonly found in your Pravesha question papers. And now comes the Ramayanam topic, which is also under your Samskrita Vaangmaya Parichaya section. Ramayana is considered as the Adi Kavyam, the very first Kavya. And who is the author? We all know it is Valmiki and is the composer of Ramayana. So he is called Adi Kavihi. So Adi Kavyam is Ramayana and Adi Kavihi is Valmiki. And Ramayana, you already know, it describes the life of Lord Sri Ramachandra and who is considered as the Maryada Purushottama, and how he led his life and from the birth all the way to his coronation, and followed by the after that what happens, the birth of his sons and Sita Devi's life, and all these things are covered in Ramayana. And remember that this could be useful. These are the points that you can write when there is a question to write a summary on Ramayana. And it has 24,000 shlokas or verses. And this following verse that is given here captures the essence of Ramayana. So it is so true, when we are when people are going on the righteous path, on the path of dharma, even the animals lend a helping hand. And but if one is pursuing a wrong thing or taking a wrong path, then a brother also leaves such a person. So this is pretty much the life of Rama and Ravana. So Rama, because he was on the dharma path, animals like monkeys and bears and all the even the bird Jatayu, right? So they all helped him. And difficulties will be there in everybody's life, but the people are even this is stressing, if we are on the right path there will be helping hands. But Ravana, on the contrary, he was doing wrong things, so his own brother Vibhishana left him. So that is the it basically is a life lesson. So this, remember this particular shloka. You might be given this shloka and asked to explain the meaning, or you can just see this question in fill in the blanks as well. So if you just remember the shloka, you will be able to tackle that type of question. Moving on, coming to Mahabharatam. Mahabharata is considered as the fifth Veda. Bharatam Panchamo Vedaha. And who is the author or the composer? It is Veda Vyasa. And it has 18 parvas and it has around 1 lakh shlokas or verses. So here there is another question that could potentially come on the topic Vyasarhasya. What is Vyasarhasya? So if we all are familiar with this Mahabharata story, right? So when Veda Vyasa took up the work of writing Mahabharata, he requested Lord Ganesha to be the scribe. And Lord Ganesha said, yes, okay, I will do this as long as you dictate the verses continuously without a break. And Vyasa thought for a while, and he said, okay, fine, I'll do it. But you have to understand the meaning of the verse before you continue with the writing. Okay. So with that, they basically sat and continuously wrote this Mahakavya. And around, as we said, there are around 1 lakh verses. Among 1 lakh verses, around 800 verses are called as Vyasarhasya. The reason why Vyasa introduced these things are these are the complex, very difficult to understand verses, and these were introduced by Vyasa in order to make sure that he gets some time to come up with the next verses while Ganapati is trying to understand and then write. Okay, so that is the thing about this Vyasarhasya. So remember it in case a question comes on what is Vyasarhasya. Again, you don't have to explain this in Sanskrit. You can write it in English or the language chosen by you at the time of Pravesha registration. And the following statements emphasize the greatness of this Mahakavya, Mahabharatam. Yadi hasti tadanyatra enne hasti na tat kvachit. Whatever is found in it, it here is refers to Mahabharata, is found elsewhere. What is not found in it doesn't exist anywhere, which is very true. Basically, if you read Mahabharata, pretty much everything, from the good to bad and in between, everything is covered in Mahabharata through various characters and their life and the events that unfold and how to lead the righteous life. Everything is covered in Mahabharata. Mahatvat Bharatvat cha Mahabharata muchyate. So Bhara, so it is not just Bhara because it has 1 lakh verses. It is not just the Gatra. From that point of view, also it is heavy, and but it from its greatness, its Mahatva also it is great. So that is the name. That is why it is called Mahabharata. So that is the Mahabharata part of your Vaangmaya Parichaya. Now moving on to Kavya. So Kavyam, there are 3 kinds of Kavya. One is Gadya Kavya, which is prose. Padya Kavya, this is Padya poetry, right? And Champu. Champu is basically a hybrid version of Gadya and Padya. It has alternation of prose and verses. And another way to classify Kavya is based on whether a Kavya is seen or watched or heard. One is Drishya Kavyam, a stage play or a drama, right? Or Shravya Kavyam, which is heard or read. Usually, there will be these people who read out great kavyas like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Vachana, that is what they say. So you read it out, and or people also hear. So that is Shravya Kavyam. Okay, so these are the 2 ways that kavya can be classified as well. And drama is called Rupaka. What we call as drama in English language, it is called Rupaka in Sanskrit. There are 10 varieties of Rupakas, and this following verse gives the 10 varieties, the name of those 10 types of Rupakas. Memorize this. Again, you might be asked to write a note on Kavya. Then if you list out this particular verse, you will get good full marks on that question. And what are the Panchakavyas that you have and who is the author? So all these things are listed. These are all the screenshots from your textbooks. So it is just to give you a ready list of things to review as you are preparing for the exam. So go through it, and here again a question can be one word or one line Sanskrit answer in Sanskrit type of question, or match the following, or fill in the blanks type of question might come. So remember this, what is the kavya name and the corresponding author. So again, make it a habit to just keep these lists and review it once a day or every other day kind of thing. So whatever you have memorized stays in your memory. And Kalidasa, like now we come to the five famous plays that are written by various authors or kavis. Kalidasa being one of the most famous poets in Sanskrit literature, and he had written these three plays, out of which Abhigyana Shakuntala is considered to be the more famous one. And this is basically the story of Shakuntala, who is the daughter of Vishwamitra sage and Menaka. And she's also happens to be the foster daughter of sage Kanva, because Menaka leaves her in the ashram of Kanva after her birth, and sage Kanva takes care of bringing her up. And King Dushyanta, whom she marries later, and he was considered as a Rajarshi, a royal sage. He was a king, but also he was very well versed with the scriptures, so he had gotten the title Rajarshi. And thing is, you go through the story that is given in your textbook. So if you get a question to write the summary of Abhigyana Shakuntala play, you will be in a position to do it. And this particular verse here, you have to just memorize it. So you could get fill in the blank type question. For example, kavyeshu dash ramyam, like that. Then you can say, okay, kavyeshu natakam ramyam. Okay, and moving on, we have Bhavabhuti, who is the author of Uttara Ramacharitam, and it is the story that captures the events that follow the coronation of or Pattabhishekam of Lord Sri Rama, and it is based on the Uttarakanda of Ramayana, as we mentioned earlier while going through the Ramayana topic. So it is based on Uttarakanda of Ramayana, and the main events that are covered in this particular play by Bhavabhuti are listed here in this third bullet point. And remember this again, Uttare Ramacharite Bhavabhutihi Visheshyate. So it highlights, how good, how well this Uttara Ramayana is written by Bhavabhuti, because it's one of the nicely narrated play that tells us about how good playwright this Bhavabhuti was. And coming to Bhasa Kavi, another famous Kavi who had written many plays, he had composed around 13 plays, out of which Swapna Vasavadattam is considered to be very famous. And it is about the life of King Udayana and Queens Vasavadatta and Padmavati. Okay, here again you go through the story of Swapna Vasavadatta, which is given either in English or the regional language. And so the typical question that you get on this topic is write the summary. Okay, so you will be in a position to write it. And coming to Bhatta Narayana, Veni Samharam. This is another beautiful play written by Bhatta Narayana, based on the the story of how Draupadi hair was let loose while she was humiliated by the Kauravas, and later she takes a vow to braid her hair only after the death of Kauravas, and she would use the blood of the Kaurava, the Duryodhana, to braid her hair. Okay, so this play is written by Bhattanarayana. It starts with the Lord Krishna's efforts for making peace to avoid the war which doesn't really go well, and later comes the war and then killing of all the Kauravas, and then ends with the tying of Queen Draupadi's braid of hair. And why it is called Veni Samhara is Veni is means braid of hair, and Samhara one is killing, but here Samhara is tying. Okay, so these are some of the points about this Veni Samharam. Again, you go through the story given in the textbook and understand it. You can remember it like the events, so you'll be in a position to write the summary if given as a question in your upcoming exam. And highlights of this play, these are the points taken from your textbook. Uh, so you can list these points out for full marks. It has 6 acts covering the events from Udyoga Parva all the way to Shalya Parva. As you know, there are 18 Parvas. This particular play starts with Udyoga Parva and ends with Shalya Parva. Okay, and it conforms to the rules of the drama, the theory and composition, how it should be done, as that is uh, listed out in the Sanskrit. And the technical sandhi, sandhyanga, basically this thing you will find in the Natya Shastra. So these are very well followed in Bhattanarayana, apparently. So if you are interested later, as you make progress in your Samskrita study, you can take up the study of these nice plays and get the understanding, understand how these things are used while writing the play. And now comes another play by Shudraka, and it is called Britshakatikam. Okay, it is based on the story of a nobleman Charudatta and a courtesan Vasantasena. There is an episode of a clay toy cart. Mrit means clay and Shakatika means toy cart. So that is since it is there is an episode on it, and it is one of the key uh, episode which kind of brings Charudatta and Vasantasena's meeting, and that is why this play is called Britshakatikam. And again, you go through the story, which applies to all the play type Samskrita Vaangmaya Parichaya sections in your textbook. Go through the story and familiarize yourself with the characters of that play, and so you'll be in a position to write the summary if such a question comes in your exam. That said, we basically covered all the sections pertaining to Samskrita Vaangmaya Parichaya topic. Now let us look at some of the questions. Answer the following questions in Sanskrit. Kati Vedaha Santi Te Ke. Kati means, Saptakakara. It's one of the Saptakakara. How many, right? How many Vedas are there and what are they? So, Chatvarah Vedaha Santi Te Rigvedah Yajurvedah Samavedah Atharvana Vedah Cha Iti. Kati Darshanani Santi Tani Kani. Again, it's about the Darshana Shastra that we looked at earlier. So, we'll be giving the answer in a second. Try to recall and answer. Dvau Darshana Prakarau Staha. Astika Darshanam, Nastika Darshanam Cha Iti. Adikavihi Kaha. Adikavihi Valmiki Maharshihi. Mahabharate Kati Shlokaha Santi. Mahabharate Laksha Shlokaha Santi. You can write the Laksha either in words or in numbers. Here it is given in numbers. So this is acceptable. Kati Puranani Upapuranani Santi Tesham Lekhakaha Kaha. अष्टादश पुराणानि अष्टादश उपपुराणानि च सन्ति तेषां लेखकः व्यासमहर्षिः. So remember these points. Here again, either you can write the number in words or in actual Sanskrit number. Both are acceptable. Ramayane kati shlokaः santi? रामायणे 24 श्लोकाः सन्ति. कः पञ्चमः वेदः? महाभारतं पञ्चमः वेदः. भासकवेः प्रसिद्धनाटकं स्वप्नवासवदत्ता. काव्येषु किं रम्यम्? काव्येषु नाटकं रम्यम्. उत्तररामचरितस्य लेखकः कः? उत्तररामचरितस्य लेखकः भवभूतिः. Now let us look at another type of question. वेदस्य डैश् भागाः सन्ति ते डैश् 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 च इति. वेदस्य 4 भागाः सन्ति ते संहिता, ब्राह्मण, आरण्यक, उपनिषत् च इति. डैश् वद डैश् चर. सत्यं वद धर्मं चर. शन्नो अस्तु डैश् शन् डैश्. शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे शं चतुष्पदे. नास्तिकदर्शनानि डैश् 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 च इति. नास्तिकदर्शनानि चार्वाकदर्शनं, जैनदर्शनं, बौद्धदर्शनं च इति. आदिकाव्यं डैश्. आदिकाव्यं रामायणम्. डैश् तदन्यत्र डैश् न तत् क्वचित्. This is a famous saying about Mahabharata that we had reviewed earlier. यदि हास्ति तदन्यत्र यन्ने हास्ति न तत् क्वचित्. डैश् रामचरिते डैश् विशिष्यते. उत्तरे रामचरिते. Remember who is the author of Uttara Ramacharitam? Bhavabhutihi Vishishyate. That concludes the Samskrita Vaangmaya Parichaya and some sample questions that you could possibly get along with the write the summary on any of those topics that in English or in the language chosen by you for the Pravesha course. Now we will look at Vyaavahaarika Shabadaah, and again these are all the words. So basically to improve the vocabulary, make a list of all the words given in the textbook, and again make it a point to visit those either by reading those or trying to recollect by looking at the word. For example, when you are looking at let us say plate in your kitchen, then you try to recall what is this word mean in Sanskrit. So, or when you look at a fruit, let's say an apple on your table, when you're eating an apple, try to ask yourself, so what do we call apple in Sanskrit? And that way you can kind of practice recalling the words. Question on the Vyaavahaarika Shabda topic. One could be fill in the blanks like this, what we have given here. Sister-in-law, Bhratra Jaya. Jaya means wife. So wife of the brother is called sister-in-law. So Bhratra Jaya. Elder brother Agrajaha or Jeshthaha. Friend, you have to be very careful here because the word Mitra, there is a Mitram which is Navumsakalinga, that means friend. But if you write Mitraha, that means Surya, sun god. So be very careful when you write the word for friend in Sanskrit. It has to be Mitram. Mitram or Snehitaha or Sakha. Daughter-in-law, Snusha. Snusha. Head, Mastakam. Mango, Amraphalam. Grandson, Pautraha or Dauhitraha. Here it is not specifically given whether it is the son's son or daughter's son. So either if you write either Pautraha, Pautraha means son's son, and Dauhitraha means daughter's son. Since it is not specifically given here, whose son, it is just grandson. So if you write Pautraha or Dauhitraha, both answers will be right. And write the three names for the following. So you can get a question where they give you a category and of words and then ask you to give two or three examples. So we are just looking at that type of question. Fruits. Here again, you can write, there are so many fruits given in your textbook, right? Under the Vyaavahaarika Shabda. So you can pick any three and make sure when you are writing your words that are written in Sanskrit are the spelling is correct, and also grammatically these things are correct. So be very careful so you won't lose out on so that you won't lose any marks. Panasaphalam, Kalingam, Jambuphalam. Again, these are just the answers that we have given in this video, but you can pick any three fruits from the list. Flowers, Mallika, Shankha Pushpam, Japa Kusumam. Stationery, Niryasaha, Yojini, Marjani. Animals, Vyagraha, Ashvaha, Gajaha. Vegetables, Nishpavaha, Jambiram, Mishtalukam. So pick the easy ones so that you won't make any spelling mistake. And here you might get this type of question also. So here it not only you have to write the word in Sanskrit, but you have to write the plural form of the word given. So basically you have to know the Sanskrit word for the ones that are given here. But when you're writing the answer, you have to give the plural bahuvachana of such words. Okay. So read the question carefully. Chair. For chair it is asandaha. Since we have to write the plural form or bahuvachana, you have to write it as asandaha. Your vibhakti table, use prathama vibhakti bahuvachana that comes into picture here. So be very careful. Female teacher. Female teacher is called adhyapika. It's akaranta strilinga. So the plural is asked, right? So you have to write adhyapikaha. Father-in-law, it is shvashuraha. So the plural form is shvashuraha. Comb, kankatam is the comb, and it is kankatam. It is napumsakalinga. So the plural form will be kankatani. pant, urukam. Urukam is the pant and the plural form will be urukani. Room, prakoshthaha. Female chef, pachika is female chef. The plural will be pachikaha. Window, vatayanam, and its plural form will be vatayanani. Iron box, the plural form of the Sanskrit word for iron box. That is what you have to write. Samikaraha. Mixer, mishrakani. Huntress or the female hunter, vyadha. So it will be vyadhaha. Cooker, bhashpasthalyaha. Bhashpasthali is the word for cooker. So you have to write the plural. So it becomes bhashpasthalyaha. See, ikaranta strilinga. So the prathama vibhakti goes like, if you recall, nadi, nadyau, nadyaha, just like that. Bhashpasthali, bhashpasthalyau, bhashpasthalyaha. So that is the bahuvachana. Bucket, dronyaha. Again here, you have to write the plural. Female artist, chitrakari. So here it becomes chitrakaryaha because you have to write the bahuvachana. Doctor, vaidyaha. Stapler, yojinyah. Okay, that concludes your Vyaavahaarika Shabda topic. Now coming to Katha. Here, as an exercise, as also which helps you in preparing for the upcoming exam, we are requesting you to go through the Katha given in all the lessons in your Pravesha textbook, and we have given a question paper pertaining to just the Katha topic. So try to answer all the questions that are given in this particular PDF file. The link to this particular file will also be given in the description box of this video. You can download and try to answer it, and obviously write it down because that is how you will be writing the exam with pen and paper. So practice it, and we will be giving the answers to these questions in the next video. So until then, we wish you all the best with the exam preparation. Dhanyavadaha. Harihi Om. Shubhamastu. Sarve janaha sukhino bhavantu.